Alright. It is Friday, the 8th of November.
Oh my god.
Somehow, saying that out loud, the reality hit me that we're already almost at the end of the year. And what a year it has been. Hello to the chat. It's Ben here from Second Dynasty. It is Friday, which means we are streaming. It looks like all systems are go here on my end. Looks like my microphone is reporting that sound should be coming through. The camera is on, and I can see you wonderful people in the chat. Say hello, and I shall too. So let's see, we've got Machinko113. Boop to you too. Patrick beep to you. We've got John, we've got Shergol, we've got Derivative Content, we've got Doug, Tamsin, Custom Blink. It's been a while. Carbon Head, of course, is Albin, who's with me in the room.
Oh yeah.
We've got Clive, we've got Jaron, and Will Richards. There we go. I think that's most of the people that have posted in the chat in any case. I can't really see. Some people have probably run away already for just being mentioned. But yeah, we make 3D printable spaceships, and this week we're going to be talking about our release for December, which is tentatively called the Sphere. I've actually called it the Hyperion Sphere, but yeah. Anyway, I have shown this one off before. What I have not shown off is the work in progress for it. And basically, the whole concept here was to create something that can let us go off with a bang at the end of 2024 for our Tribes release. Every month we release a new vehicle for just $5. This one's going to be a ridiculous bang for your buck. I almost feel bad for myself for doing this. Let me switch to the close-up camera, and we can have a look at the in-progress work so far. So this is actually more than I am showing in the Maya stream at the moment. So you can see the lower deck down below with all of our tankage. A few different techniques I employed before resting on the final version, so we'll go over that in a bit. Then you've got your main deck there. I haven't cleaned it up at all. It has some considerable detail going on. And then of course on the underside we have our engine block, landing gear. Look at that beauty. Gotta admit, I like it. Whilst we've got the camera on too, the end results for the not Trepidar tank. Albin has warned me that the turret is not firmly affixed, so I will try not to rotate it too much. Albin's actually made some really great progress on the Astron, which is based on the same platform. I think we've come to a good compromise between classic Traveller art and modern Mongoose. This thing you can see in some of the graphics, in particular in the Third Imperium source book, and it was one of our stretch goals for the Fifth Frontier War campaign. So, of the main vehicles we have left to do, miniatures are being processed at the moment. We have now all of the miniatures are finished for the core pledges. Now we just do the daily reveals, and currently in production we have the Sword Welders and we have the Zidani Security, I believe, that have just gone into production. So that should be fun. I'm wondering if I've got some images I can show. Let me search here if anything that's come from John. So has image. There we go. So we've got some pictures of the Heavies here. Let me just get this in its own browser window. So this is with the sort of weapon they're shown with. Took a little bit of finagling to figure out the hips to not make them look too feminine. Then we've got a few other poses for them, like for example the standing poses. with this particular rifle. I have no idea what the rifle is, but it's the one that's kind of like got the green in it. We also have... Oh, I could have sworn we had a finished version of this where we've got the rocket launcher type things. Why can't I find that? Maybe I will doom scroll until I find it. Let's see. Because it would be a bit strange that it didn't turn. Okay, it was hidden in some of the other posts. So here we go. Here is the portable fusion gun. I said to, have it work as a launcher. That's shoulder mounted. I think that came out pretty good. And there are some less exciting, more boring poses for sort of static positions. But I'm happy with the way that came across. Let's see, do we have anything else? I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I've shown things.
Games wrote about Varger, but I'm not sure if they want no photos, he said. I don't know.
Oh right, that the Varger in production is what he's saying.
Yeah.
I don't think we showed off the female Zidane either. These are smaller images, but
I haven't seen that.
let's see. I think
What?
we've got these ones.
It's actually surprisingly well telegraphed. It's supposed to be a female.
Yeah, especially for something that doesn't. We elected not to go with like a curved crotch. It kind of like feels a little bit more corseted, in a sense. You can see the males compared to the females there. So we didn't want to go too overboard. So it's not going to be your.
Female fantasy.
Yeah, not female fantasy. Like this is literally the same armor. It's just got a female physique, and I think you can most tell with the hip stance here. Legs are a little bit thinner. I really like how that has come out. And I think that's mostly it. Yeah, we had quite a back and forth on some of these items, but I think they all have turned out great. So hopefully you guys think so as well. And I might actually have to put the chat up again to see what people are saying. So in any case, all of these are some works in progress. If we go back to the campaign page, which was here, for some reason it switched out to just a reference. I mean, that's really cool. It's like a semi-auto extended keyboard. Anyway, so of the items in production, we have the military air raft. It is concepted. It needs to be made printable with some finishing touches put in. In particular, probably the chairs need to be modelled. The Astron is in production as we speak. We're waiting on Mongoose for the medium and heavy warbots because we need to know what kind of scale they're at. It's not really clear from the art. I think there is some art of the medium warbot, and it's actually quite large. Like maybe 3 meters tall or something like that. I'm not sure. But it begs the question, how big is a heavy warbot then? The Imperial Grav Tank is the one I just showed you guys. I think it's come out quite nicely. With a nice compromise between old school stuff. The P984 is in a phase where we're basically getting ready to... See, we need to do this trick of moving things back and forth between Albin and John. But John has a lot on his plate right now between Gridforge, which is something we're going to talk about today and in the coming weeks, because we will be having a mini campaign in December. Now this is something completely separate from the 5th Frontier War campaign. It's already completed for the most part, or at least the system is. And we'll get into that in a little bit, because the floors on the sphere work differently than our regular kind of tiles. But they are cross-compatible. And then we have the Gripen, which is the next one I'm going to work on. So yeah, we basically got 3D models for all of the craft, aside from the Gripen at the moment, and the robots need working on. And then, of course, the miniatures. We're kind of electing to support a smaller pool of sculptors. I think we've got 4 or 5 working on it, which does mean that we will hit our goals by end of December latest for all of the STL files. Now, some people have been asking, how will this work? Basically, because of the way that Kickstarter works now, where we have late pledges, you can actually see that, we must have got a new pledge in the last day. We're up to 64,871 pledged with 548 backers. So we've had a stream of people that are getting their chances in to get these miniatures ordered before we close. Thing is, we can't send out surveys until these are closed, and basically we need to be at a point where we're essentially ready to put the stuff up on My Mini Factory before we do too much of that. So there are a few things that we have promised, especially in the social stretch goals. The last one unlocked as a community sculpt. So we need to do a survey to get you guys' impression on that. However, because I have said this needs to this is only ever supposed to be an STL, but we kind of need to send it out with the surveys, the link to making your suggestions before we can actually send out the second survey on which model people actually want selected there. So we're probably going to do a couple of extra sculpts as well. Don't know yet which format we're going to have to put them out, but yeah, that's basically happening. Just tell you where to send the money. In any case, I'm happy with the way that this is progressing. We'll probably do a new update on Monday, I'm guessing, with a bit more of this information, maybe reiterating how this works. I know a lot of people are probably used to the fact that we generally, right after the Kickstarter, start our pledge manager on My Mini Factory for the STL files, where everything that we have in existence so far is made available. But because of the way Kickstarter's changed things around with the late pledges, logistically for us it makes a lot more sense to wait a little bit. And actually, if you look back on the Kickstarter page, you can see that the earliest estimated delivery on any item is December 2024. So maybe we haven't been as upfront about that, but it has been there the whole time, that information. So with that out of the way, and we've now blown through a good 15 minutes, let's take a look in 3D at the lower deck of the Hyperion Sphere. So this little beastie, let's actually turn on everything. Probably not going to keep these struts at the top, so I might put these on a different layer so we're not seeing this right now. Let's see, I want to hide that on set dressing. So it'll probably look something like this in the final version. You can kind of see, actually, to this point is designed. And this is a stupidly large ship to do for a single month on Tribes. What is Tribes, you ask? Well, if you've heard of Patreon, it's a similar system where you throw us a $5 every month, and in exchange you get a discount on our store and a brand new model every month of a vehicle. This past month we've done some awesome, or rather Alban has done some really awesome sort of yellow machinery, which has been a theme of late. So lately we've been really focusing on the sort of like civilian construction, blue collar worker stuff. We had our space truck, we've had the Matador, which is a beastly sort of like what we call it?
Loader, I think we call
it. Heavy loader or something like that. Then we had the, what are we calling it again? The Badger, which has multiple different tools on it, so you can use it as a forklift or as a what's the word I'm looking for?
Digger or dozer?
Dozer, yes, a bulldozer. So yeah, that's the theme. So this one normally would have been like It's not quite the same size as like our larger 3-part ship that we did in the Star Trek style. This one, however, is very strongly influenced by tons of different sci-fi, but primarily from the broadsword from the Traveller universe. Obviously, it's a lot smaller than that. And let's take a little look at it. So I'm going to take the top off again. And the cockpit is the least finished version. Now, near-term plans, we're looking at Gridforge, which is going to be a frontier in December on my mini factory. Just a smaller campaign where we're looking to introduce the new modular tile system with a bunch of different options. And I can tell you that a lot of our testers have found it quite addictive to print. John wrote up a whole game to go along with it, but it's not going to be ready at that time, so we just decided we're just going to focus on the tiles, not confuse anyone. And yeah, let's just get back to that in a second, but down on deck B, actually let's take a look at deck C first. You have this nice little ladder well. You've got your iris, which I guess is an emergency hatch. You probably definitely wouldn't want to get out there when the engines are actually on. Even these struts, happy with the way that they're looking now for the engine cones, the landing gear. All of this wouldn't have been possible without like design elements from the Sleipnir, design elements from the Typhon, which I recently completed. John, do you know how far things are in 3DO? Can you tell the chat that? So that we can maybe update about that. So basically the idea is you got your brown, which is your, I guess I wanted to go for a helium color. But it would be more like helium 3, I guess. Oh, what happened to the caps there? I've lost the caps. Maybe I didn't duplicate those out. So I've done a lot of clever things with these where the parts snap on to sort of cleverly cover some of the joints and also create a bit of additional integrity. And the one major thing to note with this is there are no open lock clips so far.
At all?
No, these use supported clips.
Oh yeah.
And the one great thing about supported clips is I can print about 40 of them in under an hour. And doing that with open lock clips would take several hours. So it really does offer some additional opportunities, and that is like a clip that John came up with, and we also have conversion clips to make it compatible with OpenLock, so you can mix and match tiles. So we have these sort of like the drives, you've got your fuel, much more of a conventional ship, and actually, yes, Traveller inspired shape, but more Expanse style theme. Because in February we're looking to test out BackerKit. Now this is a crowdfunding platform we've not tried yet. We've noticed some people doing really well, including the Expanse Miniatures campaign that made like $300,000 or something like that. It works differently to Kickstarter, and we think it's probably worth testing it out because we might be able to reach a different audience. We absolutely love you guys, we love our audience, but we'd be able to do a lot more if, say, we could, in the next year, double the amount of backers we get in general on a campaign. We've been pretty static at about 500 for the last 2 to 3 years, I'd say, which is great, but it doesn't let us grow. So we'd like to reach more people. That's one thing we're going to test out. They really thought this was exciting. They haven't done too many campaigns in the STL sphere. They think we're a really good fit. And for example, they would be able to market to people that have already invested in miniatures in our scale for the Expanse. But yes, primarily, Tribes release for December. Let's look at Deck B. So Deck B is your main deck. We've got these phaser type turrets on 2 sides. We have this 5x5 tile deck. I guess it's 7 tiles once you sort of like bake in the machinery for...
Bacon machinery?
Wait, we're missing some layers. Okay, these should be on a different layer. Because we want those back in. Let's remove those from workshop and add them to deck B. Alright, so far I've only got this new sort of bunk beds in. We've got this nice little viewport. All of these use our existing turret wells. I have updated these RCS clusters just a little bit, and the way in which I've done it, that's one of the old ones. Where's the new one? I thought I'd fixed this already, but of course it's the last one. So, the major change is we keep the open lock clips where they are, but there are now some supporting clips as well. So it could be cross-compatible with a number of models, for example. If you want just a little bit nicer geometry for your Sleipnir, you could use the updated RCS clusters. These are even new compared to the Typhon, which they were a part of. So we just got these bunks. This is a new sort of like piece of kit with the lockers on the back side. You've sort of got your gauges for your RCS. I came up with a new semiotic to show what kind of fuel it uses and a gas. Yeah, so we got these sort of laser generators. You've got your fresher. Well, I guess this one's only a toilet because it's more a conventional ship, so you're not showering, you would be using wet wipes. Like astronauts do. You've got a little bit of environmental controls there. You've got a new style of airlock, and this kind of looks cool when the lighting is on. It's a little hard to do it, but this to see it rather. But this is more like a traditional warning light. So technically, we could actually animate. Let's see. I want to say that there's an object in here if I can find it. Warning light, and if we rotate this sphere, doesn't that look cool? Yeah. Let's pull it out. Yeah, that's the stuff, right? So yeah, we've got some new lights in there. We've got this new style of airlock. But the real new thing is what's underneath. And this is where we start talking about grid forge. So if I just, these are temporary plates, by the way. I'll probably use a different style, but if I remove these, let's move back to our grid. Let's turn off our lighting. Maybe hide this so there's not as much nonsense. Look at this thing. This is a grid forge base. It uses the supporty clip, and we have a supporty 2 open lock clip so you can connect them together. If you put 2 of these together, actually you can see right here, there's a little bit of a gap in between, an air gap, and this is for tolerance reasons. So you might notice with open lock clips, if you clip them together, especially in strange combinations, eventually you get to a point where there's a little bit of like it doesn't quite match up 100%. This has been a common issue for us over the years. It's quite minor and unnoticeable, especially with modern printers. However, the larger the ship, the more it's going to be noticeable, right? I like that, Brian. So, yeah, these are supporting clips. I know Shergel has test printed these. Maybe 1 or 2 other people in the chat have done as well, and they've done a lot. I want to show off. In particular, I think we had, yeah, Shergel's, what is it? Lab ship interior. So let's open this up. So this is an example, and this is using the grid forge system. And this is all modular. So you just can like pull out the tiles and switch them out. And I know that Shergel's actually gone ahead and made a couple of custom pieces for this thing. But essentially he's taken the lab ship, which is like ring shaped. I don't want to show off the video of it because I think it's got audio and I haven't checked it yet. So I don't know, Shergel, should I show the video or not? Let me know in the chat if that's okay.
That's massive.
It is massive. It's a very large ship. Yes, the new clips are compatible with the older clips, Dalton. Let's see. So I will try and play this. I'm not sure how I can get it outside. I've got it on the wrong screen. So let me download that real quick. So we should have something coming through soonish. Let's see. I want to go to my downloads. Oh no, you can see my dog pictures. I need to date modify this one. So let's go here, and we should have a vertical image here. So here you can see the lab ship, and then the layout. So shout out to Showgoal for sharing this. It's massive, right? So I guess those remaining deck plans are the parts that he hasn't made it for yet. I'm just going to play it another time, but you can see that actually the main thing was to show off what the lab ship looks like. So the deck plan isn't really possible because of the shape of the ship, but you know, you can lay it out as a deck plan, and that is exactly what has happened here. Motion sickness warning, yes indeed. So I think this is really, really cool, and it's nice to always see our miniatures actually being used in play. And I'm always happy to see some updates from Shurgle about how the game is going and that sort of thing. Because this stuff, it's like, oh, what is the word that Eleanor used yesterday? I'm trying to think. She used it in Swedish anyway, but like validation, I guess, that, you know, our work is appreciated, I guess you could say. So anyway, there's simply just this little combination, and the floors actually snap into place, and I have a template here of what the floors look like. This doesn't have any model details, but you can kind of see it has just these little pieces so that there's variance for how tightly it can fit. You can kind of test and see how it fits together. The supported clips are a lot better than the open lock clips for us because they're so much quicker and easier to print. And we use the open lock clips mainly for larger hulls at the moment where you want some strength. But for smaller ships, they really work well, and actually for spheres, they work quite well as well. So I am going to use this system in the sphere, and I've even made my first custom piece for the ladder worlds. John was asking, "Oh, this one's swapping over," but it's actually a 3-piece ladder. It's not perfectly aligned, but this is from Typhon. So we just use the same bladder wells. The semiotics are all Ron Cobb style. Yeah, I like how it's going along. What do you guys think of this thing so far? I've put too much time into it, but this is a 5-6 day build at this point in time, and what I mean is like 40 to 48 hours worth of work. Yes, it's not ideal, but I mean, you can pick this up for a $5 in December, then we'll sell it for like 25 otherwise. Oh, one thing to keep in mind too is our Black Friday sale. I think it starts next Friday. And by our, I mean the shop-wide My Mini Factory sale. We're having 50% off. So you can grab a bunch of our existing past catalogs. This will not still include Soul Survivor, because I don't think we'll be finished with the Typhon deliveries. Did John answer that question, by the way? Did you see that?
No, I'm not sure.
I don't know. Yeah, so those outer walls, Dalton, I think, sorry, that's my semiotic poster. I was looking for some inspiration when I was looking for a gas symbol. I think we're here. It looks like the outer walls, those are custom jobs based on the Beowulf. That's the Beowulf there. That is from the Odyssey, I want to say. And then some additional custom pieces based on our stuff. But yeah, it's very cool. Oh, it's based on the tubular cargo bay. There you go. With a few embellishments. So, yeah, it looks great. Where are we at? Where are we at? In the chat, let's see. Doug Jeffrey says the ships is gorgeous. I choose to not see that as a grammatic issue, and you must surely be talking about the Typhon and the Sphere at the same time. Neil J. Voice says, a side project I have is building a mining colony using LV427 pieces. I think I may take a look at these decks from your chaps instead. They look better to my eyes. Yeah, LV427 make pretty cool stuff. And it's kind of like, I would say, the terrain version of Papsicles. Good models. I think I've backed their campaigns before. Although, yeah, I wouldn't quite put it as far on the nose as some of those guys do, but yeah. Anyway, so we will be replacing those tiles today. I've been a bit frustrated with this ship, not because I hate it, because I enjoy working on it too much and keep adding things all the time, and I just. These walls are going to slot in a bit unusually in the sense of I'll probably make a tile like this, and this end will be the kind that fits into our grid forge, and then this part will just actually hover, and there can be a gap. We do have some versions where we could use the conversion clips to fit it in. They kind of cut. Why did I do that? Wait, is that done on both sides? Okay, I'm just realizing I have flipped this. Oh, why no way. Okay, so I wanted the pattern to follow on this side, but the clip holes on this piece are there. So basically what I need to do is cut this thing along here. There we go, and let's slice and dice, and we'll do a 180 flip. We need to recombine these. I don't think there's any floating shapes we need to worry about. They all merged back okay. And now we can flip this so I can fix, oh, now that happened because of a bug in Maya, I think, but we should have deselected those vertexes now, and if I slide this back into place, there you can see that the pattern works better now. Kind of looks better blank. But we'll leave, oh no, what happened here? Okay, everything else didn't switch around, so I guess what I should have done is, let's go back. I think the easiest way is to keep this in place where it was, but then to just select the base and rotate here. There we go. That's not affecting any of the sub-objects. So we've got these little jennies. I was searching for this generator in so many different scenes because I don't know if this will crash or not, but I'm going to try and open my ship equipment catalog here. 1.51 gig, that sounds right. This crashed the last time I tried to open it, so I don't know if it'll work. Is Gridforge a Second Dynasty product or a John Games product? It is Second Dynasty, created by John for us in his normal role. So it's being published under us. He created it, but it's a Second Dynasty product. So let's see, this is loading up, and I'm a bit worried about the fact that it's not showing anything. So I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, there you go. John explained it. Hey John, did you see my question earlier about oh, what was my question? Oh yeah, what's the status of the Typhon? Yeah, I thought we'd have a crash again. Okay, so I'm going to open a second copy of Maya, and I have an idea about how we can open that scene. I think maybe the system's a little short on memory. This has a tendency to happen when I haven't restarted the computer for a long time. It's importing in your manually setting clip joints. It will be ready Wednesday. Okay. And by ready, you mean the instructions will be ready in 3DO than the physical, sorry, the printed instructions or PDF instructions will take longer. I'm going to try and open the recovered file to see if that works. I suspect it will cause another crash. Also, I thought I killed this mongoose. Oh, okay, close all tabs, that's why it didn't close. So Adobe has a tendency to steal a lot of memory. And although it's not the worst culprit, having Acrobat open could be affecting things a little bit. We'll see. We'll see. Either this scene is going to load in correctly, or it will load incorrectly. We can look at the sphere for the time being. So I want to switch out the floor panels. This was just a temporary thing. Really, this is just the top part. Here we go. Oh, it actually opened. Oh, here's something new to show you guys too. So this thing occupied my Sunday. Some of you might recognize it. Let's select the entire group and isolate it. So this is what we call the Gargantuan Drive, or like a gravity drive. It is my most shameless 3D model because it's definitely based on Miyazaki's gravity drives from the SDF-1 Macross, from the Macross TV series. Yeah, it's not a one-for-one conversion, but it's closer than I would ever do today. But I did revamp this model from the ground up, and I just need to export it. Oh, and this, remember, this was going to be, because next week we're going to be having an intern joining us at Second Dynasty. And one of the projects for the intern will be to convert this Gargantuan drive to the STL models to replace the old version. But this has been completely revamped and made support free. This used to require a ton of different nonsense in the way, and this was just a part of the obsession of, you know, getting all these Starship components together in one file that we can pick out. And that's the whole reason why we've gotten so far with the sphere, because I've been able to just import into here just the models that I want, pinch this piece and that piece, create a few new pieces. But yeah, I knew for a long time, because I showed this off on stream, that for example, our shield generator here, and these originally were based on the old Mongoose First Edition sort of isometric plan, so they also are a little bit too on the nose, I would say. There definitely has been some interpretation, but that's what they're meant to represent. And these are sort of like the modernized versions. And we had some generators that were meant to be like power plants. And this is what they looked like in Starship 1, right? And you can probably see the origins there. And I've been going through dozens of different ships and scenes, feeling like, oh, this model, I've definitely done an update, like that's higher resolution. And I've been ripping my hair out. I looked at Chimera, I looked at Odyssey, I looked at Pathfinder, I looked at Sleipnir, and guess where it was, guys? Typhon, the last ship I designed, right there. was looking at old scenes. It was nice to see my old work. But I'm like, I swear I've done this before. Like, I can't even remember where I've done this, and this was just a couple of weeks ago with the Typhon power plant there. But the idea is that, we get a scene together where we've got all this machinery, we've got all of these designs that we can just use as nurnies or greeblies to build new models. So we don't have to start from scratch. And that is what gives us an edge over our competitors, because we have this massive library of existing models. And aside from one or two items in here, that might be a slight exaggeration, this isn't even with the Traveller versions of things. This is just the non-Traveller versions of things. So there are additional models that we did for Traveller. And also, what is the Traveller stuff now? Because we're not going to do T5 style designs moving forward. We're probably still going to reuse some of the models that we have. But, I think we would try and go in our own sort of direction. So that could be fun to do. You need to find the STL for the Benjaminin. The Benjaminin, I think, is only available to friends of Benjaminin, I want to say. I'm not sure. It was definitely a tribes thing, right? But it's featured... I mean, chances are, Dalton, you already have a Benjaminin and you don't know about it, because John has a tendency to hide them in other designs. Yeah, no more T5 MGT. Yeah, it will be MGT2 moving forward. I've asked for the Gunboats and Traders book. They say they're doing some editing and they'll get back to me next week. Hopefully there's a ship in there or two that look interesting. Looking ahead towards the end of next year, but this is how it's going to go. We deliver for, of course, the Fifth Frontier War. That's our number one priority. But again, just so you guys understand, if you are one of those people, we have multiple people working on different things all at once. So I've done a bunch of vehicles. Albin's done a bunch of vehicles. We've worked a lot more together on those this time around.
Fun times.
Fun times. The miniatures themselves are done with sculptors such as Kai Shiniku. Even that Blessed Camouflage has done some cool alien for that. And I'm trying to think, Xmas, Ronaldo. I feel like I'm missing someone. Oh, John's done one as well. So yeah, we have a bunch of different sculptors working with us. But they are able to work separately. So we focus on the vehicles, hard surface stuff, and we're trying to get tribes so that we're basically 2 months ahead. A, so that we can show stuff off, and B, just so we can focus on other projects. So what comes next after the sphere is done? Well, Monday I'm starting on the Gripen, and that is the Sword World's fighter. So that should be featured in next week's stream. And I've talked a lot with Mongoose and been given quite a bit of creative control over how to do that, because I want to put a bit of sub-Draken DNA into it. I have actually spoken to the artist for the existing version, and there'll be some design elements we'll try to carry over, but again it will be like more like taking the design language, the way that we tend to work. So it might look a bit different and probably closer to what the deck plan looks like. Anyway, let's close that off, and I guess this is mostly a windbagging episode again, by the sounds of things. I have a sneaking suspicion I'm probably going to work over the weekend because I really want to get this done. And we're pretty close. A lot of it will be the boring, transferring the tiles, getting things actually printing. You can kind of see here, this was the parts I ran last night, and this all came out nicely. So today I'll probably do some grid forge tiles overnight. I'll probably do, those pieces. So that's what I'll be trying to get done in the last hour before the end of the day. You caught back up at 1.5 times after pausing for an urgent kitchen visit. Okay, yep. I'm very excitable at 1.5. Maybe that's the key to making, keeping people interested. Is that I need to talk faster. I am excited about the ship, and I do like working on this. And there's so many jokes to be made around a ball-shaped ship. And I think the chassis could be used for a number of different combinations. Obviously, with the Grid Forge tiles, you'll be able to customize this. So you want some different turrets on this thing, give them different turrets. You want what are you giggling about?
Dalston. Guess why?
Oh god, yeah. It's not gonna happen. Like, honestly, we even looked at this thing and thought, oh, how much would it take to convert it to the expo? And then I think I even have up here somewhere. I must have closed it off, but I had like the deck plans for the expo, and it's like, no, it widens out to like an extra bit. So yeah, it's not gonna work. Potentially, you could use the hull to sort of like make something larger, but nah. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. I'm not spending. Let's see. If Beowulf, which was 300 D-tons by the time we figured out the volume, the broadsword would take us at least 12 months to finish. And whilst I think the sphere has a much better chance of holding together in that shape, no, I'm not doing it.
Sure, Gold suggested that we do a collaboration with Wormwood for the broadsword, I think, earlier in the stream.
With Wormwood?
They make like tabletop gaming setups, like big luxurious wooden tables, I think.
Oh. Okay. Have to look into that. Don't know what that's all about. That blasted Samouflage asks, will Grid 4 now be replacing OpenLock going forward? No. Floors, maybe. Walls, no. We're still going to have to do the holes of the ship with OpenLock, I think. And what I was trying to get to before is, when we do our backer kit, it's going to be more Expanse themed. We're going to have several ships. I haven't decided yet if the standalone Hammerhead's going to be a part of it. Actually, that's something we could probably show off, because I don't see myself sharing. Let's see, let's go to Starship 3. I don't think we're going to get much work done. Let's see, Scoutship beta variant. So this is something I showed off during the week. Let's go and actually save that scene first, actually, as we want to be in resources, because we had that crash, so it's important to save over this, because I know this scene actually works. Let's replace that. You can, so I did start trying to, update this thing to see what it would look like, but it's not perfect. But I think I will go through and do that, but it's more of a like the Gargantuan Drive, just something I do when I've got some spare time to myself, and we'll see. I'm between games at the moment. Oh, Maya crashed while saving it. Okay. Alright, let's not worry about that, then we'll use this one. So let's go to Starship 3, and I'm going to open, we'll save this one first. Hopefully it won't crash, it shouldn't. And let's go to open the Scoutship beta variants. The Expo is a cool idea, but you've got to figure out how to keep it from falling over, and since it's a single pilot ship, not sure of the point. That's my major issue. Like, model-wise, it's quite easy to do. It's a very simple shape. I mean, the curves do make it more difficult, but I mean, obviously this works fairly well. We've got a precedent now. Precedent, I mean.
Yeah, we really do got a precedent. Well, not we, but
the world.
The world.
Let's not go there.
Oh, my trash.
Yeah, again. Yes, close on that one. So, the Hammerhead is this one. And let's see, what layer is that in the top deck? Let's just put this onto our junk. Let's put this onto our junk. That onto our junk. Did I show this off last week? I can't remember. And that one's going in junk as well. So the major change here, like a while back, I revamped the. Let's see, what's it in mid deck? Let's turn off mid deck. You can kind of say I revamped this to have this sort of lower deck, more details. Let's stick this one in mid deck as well. So the Hammerhead was, it's been out for ages, but it wasn't very print friendly, and I started making a version that would work support free. So this is what spurred this on. And this started out at the end of last year as the sort of thing I think I did in December. Usually it's quite a month and we have time to revisit designs. But I had this idea to do the Hammerhead as a standalone ship. And you can see our classic Scoutship beta here. Obviously there's a few other models in here. There's a lot of stuff that's hidden. And I did want to show off that gunboat we had as well. This is something I'm never going to actually make. It's a Corvette style / sized version. It's just impractical, but it is like something like 20% larger in general. But the Hammerhead, when I was thinking, okay, let's make this a standalone ship, but what brings it some value considering the fact that we've really, used a lot of the beta Scout. I also have started work a long time ago on modernizing it using the Scoutship beta, Beta Centauri design to sort of revisit the original model. Side projects, sometimes, I'm just inspired to do things in my spare time. So it's not really about anything in particular. But what you can see here is this is actually a wider ship. So it's not just like our extended hull here. Here the normal neck width is 3 squares. Under here, we're going from 3 to 4 wide. So you can see this does offer some additional options. You can, of course, continue to lengthen this. I'll probably still do a version where you could add back in the missile ports. But this continues through the whole hull. So this too, let's put the top back on. What was it? Top hull screen there. So you can see here that compared to a regular Scout and with an upper deck, let's see if we've got one in here somewhere. I don't think we do. We probably do. Excuse me. Here was the Beta Centauri prototype. Oh wow. Dry through. Oh, I'm in tears. So you can get a vague idea about how it looked. And the most noticeable change here is the width, even on the top deck, is just 3 squares. Whereas the width up here is 4. So it is throughout the entire ship. And basically this pushes the Scoutship Beta, or the Beta Centauri, would be about 150 D-tons. This pushes it up to about 200. If you're talking about actual volume, usable space, probably less. But yeah, I wanted it to be its own ship, and I thought it would be cool just to show that off briefly towards the end. I do like, you know, some of these older concepts. It came from a game I was designing, like an actual computer game called what was it? Battleship Royale, I think I was going to call it. And it was basically, you know, Yamato style slugging in space, turn-based. Fire your turrets and improve your ship by boarding and taking over other ones, that sort of thing. But I'm not a good programmer, and I sort of gave up on that. And actually, that was a parallel project I was running at the time of Starship 1. The game was going to take a lot longer and a lot more money to develop. And yeah, obviously the STL market became my jam. And there's a considerable difference between, you know, this sort of level of very basic sketch, where in this case it's like I took the original design and then just took components of other ships. And it looks quite similar, but you can kind of see some of the elements are not quite matching up there. So this was the like second largest ship, smallest ship after the Scout Beta. You may have to ask John Gaines for a sell sheet and a licensing information for the GridForge system. It's going to be free, is the idea. So I don't know if there will be licensing or if it'll just be a general open license. I think John has some idea about that, so we're not planning on having a closed system. When you could buy a car for the same price as the table. So yeah, we just I wanted to show that off in the last few minutes. I think I've shown it before. It's probably got 2 weeks of work left in it. So I'm not sure if this is going to premiere in February or not. So the plan is, whilst delivering in parallel, so that by the end of December latest we have all the STL files out for 5th Frontier War campaign. In December we will have a smaller campaign on My Mini Factory Frontiers for the GridForge system, which will come with a bunch of different base tiles, creating a lot of value. And yeah, my understanding is that the grid system is going to be free for everyone, including support Eclipse. It doesn't hurt us business-wise to have other designs that are compatible with ours. Obviously, we've got a lot of faith in our own designs, and so does our audience. So I think it could only help grow a larger community if more creators, such as you, Blasted, are able to make content for it. Second of all, in February, which I know is usually a rough month for people, but by the time the crowdfunding is over, you're into March. Hopefully, most people are recovered after Christmas. And that's where we're going to have the Backer Kit style crowdfunding campaign. And that will be more Expanse styled. So it will be vertical ships. We're going to have a new sort of belter pirate ship design. We're going to have another smaller vessel. Probably going to do a couple of updates for the Sleipnir. Not a full re-release, but for example, the engine nozzles, I'll probably update them to look similar to the ones that I just showed you on the Sphere. And hell, we'll probably put the Sphere up for people that, you know, aren't tribers, that don't have it. Also, for the first time, My Mini Factory now has bundles. So we're able to bundle a bunch of different products together. And this will mean having greater opportunities throughout the year to get large amounts of our work at a deep discount. Anyway, it's 4 o'clock. My throat is gone for some reason. So let's end things here, guys. I'm really happy to see you once again this Friday. It's nice to see people coming back week after week. It really makes us feel like, hey, we're not just, you know, screaming into a vacuum here. We have a bunch of exciting projects coming up. We have a bunch of exciting deliveries coming up. And next week, I think we'll probably be focusing on the Grapen fighter from the Sword Worlds. So join us again then on Friday next week. Have a great weekend and have a great week, everyone.
Bye!
Bye! Sorry. Bye, guys.